Fantastic Four issue 44 sees Wraith continuing his attack on the Watchers as Nick Fury asks Uatu why the Reckoning want the apex of all reality. Sue thinks that Mnu might know since Icor wouldn't let him join the ceremony with the others, meaning that he had something in his mind the others were not meant to see. Uatu taps into his mind, finding that Mnu was there at the First War and he warned them not to share their gifts with the Prosilicans, since they were savage and they turned their tech into weapons. Uatu knows that all of the other life in the universe took up arms against him, but discovers that was actually a lie, and it was actually Mnu who stopped the Prosilicans with a new weapon that he had built, the Ultimate Nullifier. Uatu cannot believe that 9/10 of the universe were obliterated by the Watchers, as in deep space, Silver Surfer leads the destruction to the death and devastation it wants. Heading for the Watchers world as the Never Queen, Eternity, and Griever contact him, telling him that he is out of time and the Reckoning are moments away from entering the apex. Surfer wants to know if he has failed in his task they gave him, but Never Queen says that Destruction is the only one who can consume the apex and stop Reckoning, but they will arrive too late, but Surfer alone could delay the Reckoning with the Ultimate Nullifier. Silver Surfer leaves his former master Galactus, speeding off into the cosmos, but leaves a trail of power cosmic behind him for the entity to follow him, but he knows the Ultimate Nullifier is the only solution now. Elsewhere, Ruin and his men arrive inside the apex, demanding his men kill anyone who approaches them or the apex itself. Franklin and Val make their presence known, revealing they actually aren't in the apex at all. They are in thought space thanks to Val rigging the controls to send them only to this place. Val knows that in this place, every thought is made real, so with Ruin thinking about the apex, that is where he thinks he is now. Ruin knows that it doesn't matter, since if he's in a realm where his thoughts become real, then he is the undisputed king of the realm. Val isn't so sure, since her brother used to imagine entire universes into creation, and if you put him in thought space, he becomes a literal god. Franklin uses his powers to grab Ruin and the Badoon, as Val hopes that her father heard that, as in the Barrens, She-Hulk finds the gamma radiation she is using to heal Jack isn't working fast enough, as Thing finds that Reed is beginning to mutate and his mind is literally expanding. Reed says that he can see it all so clearly now, using his newfound Watcher powers to begin to build something, knowing that he can do more now because he is Mr. Fantastic and he knows how to construct a Forever Gate. Reed makes the giant gate, knowing that they can leave the wasteland and go where they can do the most. However, the gate requires zero energy or something similar. He asks Jack to be brought to the gate, and Jack knows that with his zero force he could help open the gate and power it, acting as a battery for it. Jack also knows that he was just the power source to Reed, and Reed bluntly confirmed so, wanting him to power the gate. Jennifer tells Jack that he doesn't need to do this, but Ben tells Reed that he doesn't even know who he is anymore. Reed knows that he is a dying man who knows exactly what is at stake here and what needs to be done. Jack fires at the gate and starts it up, letting Reed and Ben through. Ben tells Jack that he'll make what he does there count and they will win for him. Jack says that he'll see Reed in hell, as Jennifer refuses to leave Jack, knowing that he won't survive in the Barrens without her radiation. Jack tells her that she is a true friend, but she needs to go. Jack uses his powers to blast She-Hulk through the portal before falling over dead, with the portal closing behind She-Hulk. Wrath meanwhile arrives inside the Watchers' halls, finding them all linked in the Cyclopedia Universum. He decides to share his new gifts like they shared theirs, flinging a Macran crystal into the room and blowing a hole in the floor. Wrath says that that was just a small sliver of the Macran crystal, and the Watchers are now feeling the toxic radiation of the Barrens his people have felt for millions of years. Wrath heads down into the hole he blew in the floor, prying his way into the room with the apex inside of it, but inside he is confronted by Dr. Doom and the Cormorant, finding it impossible for them to be there since the gateway is random. Doom says it's not random to someone who has mastered science and sorcery, and with those he shall stop the Reckoning. Above the planet, Silver Surfer speeds past the Reckoning's fleet, meeting with She-Hulk, Thing and Reed on the planet's surface, telling them that the planet's defenses are spent, hoping that none of the Reckoning have reached the surface so far. Jennifer tries to kill Reed for letting Jack die in the Barrens, but Thing stops her, telling her they need to save the day first. Reed notices that Surfer has the nullifier, wanting to find the Watchers since that's where they will find Nick Fury, Uatu and Sue, who meanwhile find the injured Watchers, thinking of a way to help them, but Reed soon arrives knowing that it would be a waste of time they do not have since stopping Wraith, Rapture and Reject is their primary objective. Sue sees what Reed has become, learning that he is now half Watcher and has their abilities, and the transformation into a full Watcher is killing him and there is no cure, and he avoided telling her since she would become distracted. Sue is angered her husband would hide something like this from her and her kids, telling him this is the worst thing he has ever done, but Reed tells her the day isn't over yet. Uatu feels for Sue since he knows the dangers of holding such secrets in, revealing to the Reed that the Watchers destroyed 9/10 of the universe during the First War. Silver Surfer figures out that Uatu is going to join the Universum Cyclopedia mind meld and share the information with the other Watchers. Fury tries to stop him since he will suffer as well, but Uatu knows that this is a strange choice for him to make, but it is his choice to make and he chooses to interfere. Uatu links minds with his people, showing them what really happened during the First War, but many believe it just to be lies, soon learning though that it came from Mnu's mind and is indeed real. Fury tells Reed and Sue to get out while he stays with Uatu to watch over him. Sue uses her powers to transport the group out of the area, finding Reed has 9.5 hours of life left, or at least until the universe ends. Doom and Cormorant meanwhile battle Wraith and his men, who find Cormorant is even more powerful than their Mokran crystal armor. Cormorant says that he was once forced to fight their battles across billions of worlds, but now he fights for himself and Doom. Wrath tosses one of his men at Cormorant to distract him, allowing him to grab the alien and issue his commands to the control collar they had built into the armor. Taking control of the Cormorant again shocks even Doom, who has his Tactagon cut up by Rapture. Doom knows that the Tactagon was the deadliest weapon on Earth, but Rapture knew that since she weaponized it in the first place when she was a child, but it's nothing compared to her new Warblades. Silver Surfer appears, heading straight for Wrath, but Rapture cuts his board in half, causing Norrin to drop the ultimate nullifier as Reed, Sue, Thing and She-Hulk arrive. Rapture asks if she should kill them, but Wrath knows that they are all too weak to stop him, wanting her to take the nullifier instead. Rapture races for the device, but Thing confronts her, telling her that if she wants the weapon, she has to go through him first. Rapture gets ready to fight, knowing that Ben can't fight her alone, but her war blades suddenly disappear. Sue turns the blades invisible, causing Rapture to drop them and lose them amongst the rubble. Sue tells Rapture that Ben never fights alone, giving Ben an edge in the fight as she leaves to help deal with Wrath. Thing beats the villain around the arena, but Rapture tires of playing with him, smashing Ben in the chest and shattering his rock skin. The others meanwhile take on Wrath, but Reed soon senses that Galactus is there in a form he has never seen. Surfer reveals that Galactus has become the destruction, and it's the only thing that can consume both the world and the Apex. Reed knows that they will all die if that happens, as Johnny contacts Reed, telling him once he gives the word, he can take out Galactus. Surfer tells Johnny to leave Galactus, but Sue tells her brother that they need more time and to attack Galactus promptly. Johnny leads his army against Galactus, getting his attention while Citadel and the group head for the surface to evacuate survivors to Ego, the living planet. Johnny leaves his army to be with his family as the heroes restrain Wrath while Doom tries to get Cormorant to move, but the alien's suit is shut down thanks to the collar. Wrath decides that he will immolate himself in the intersection of the Apex and with his last breath will burn the multiverse. Wrath confronts Sue, gloating about how her pitiful power is no use against him, but Sue slashes him with the invisible blades she stole from Rapture, before turning herself invisible along with them, jumping around Wrath and cutting him up. She asks Reed if there's still time, and if there is, he can tell her what he was going to say before all this started. Reed says that he does know everything now, but none of it compared to meeting her for the first time, their first kiss, the birth of their children, and all of the other family and friends they have. He tells her that every time she told him to put down his work and join the family for dinner or go for a walk with her, she was right, and that was all that mattered to him. Wraith blasts Sue away as Johnny arrives, grabbing the villain and unleashing his unlimited power onto him, burning his face. Wrath demands to know how he has harnessed the power of the sun, as Dr. Doom is quick to say that he is the one who did that to Johnny. Rapture meanwhile finds her hand stuck in Thing's rocky chest, unable to pull it out or to reach his heart. The Thing says only the right people can reach his heart, throwing her off of him as She-Hulk grabs Wrath, calling for help in restraining the villain, but he becomes too much for her. Thing manages to grab the ultimate nullifier, falling over from his injuries though. Reed says his friend has done enough and this is his burden now, trying to grab the device, but Sue prevents him from doing so, knowing that if he fires it, it will kill Wrath and maybe another 9/10 of the universe, and no matter what happens, he will be dead. Reed tells her that he can do this and Sue and their kids and everyone will be alive, and that's all that matters, and he will be dead in a few hours anyway, wanting every second to be with his family. Wrath approaches the heart of the Apex, getting ready to destroy it, but Reed appears below him, knowing both of their stories will finally end. He activates the ultimate nullifier, firing it at Wrath as he remembers that he died knowing all there is to know, and knowing that he already had everything he needed.